Good. All right, thank you and welcome everybody to the May 20th meeting of the Charter Revision Commission. Tonight is our second and final public hearing as part of this process. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:36. Roll call, we have in person Joe Bennett, Tyler Fairbairn, Doug Hempstead, Rick LeQuay, John Levin, online Jim Clark, Tanya Rhodes Small. We're just missing Jack, Carl, and Ed are not yet with us. So we'll go right into the public participation portion of the evening. We have a list up there. I actually need to go grab that. Yeah, if you don't mind. Thank you so much, Steve. And see, we have 8 attendees. I'm not sure how many of the folks on there are looking to participate tonight, but if you could just raise your Zoom hand, we'll alternate between in person and online. So we will let me start with Lisa Henderson when we get the paper list here. Lisa, can you hear us?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
We can, Lisa.
Good, thank you. Lisa Henderson, Apple Tree Lane. Thank you for holding this public hearing. As a non-Democrat, I'm underrepresented in Norwalk, and I'm disappointed that a requirement for the charter to require minority party representation of the 5 at-large members of the Common Council does not seem to be moving forward. In the spirit of democracy, minority representation would go a long way in Norwalk politics. Also, I do not feel that there should be a 10-year gap for the next charter review, considering very little is going to change this go-around. Thank you. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Lisa. So I just want to make sure I make a note of that. Anyways, next up, we'll go in person. Peter Bondi.
How are you? Peter Bondi, 15 Principal Line Road. I really appreciate everything you guys have been doing. I know it's a monumental task getting through this charter revision. I'm here tonight as an elected constable. I just wanted to thank you for recognizing us as an asset to the city. I've been a constable on and off for about 20 years. We do not have the ability to, let me rephrase it. We have the ability to help out the city when needed. I help out zoning, I help out blight, I help out probate court. I also help out several marshals, and I help out a lot of attorneys in town. So we are an asset to marshals and city hall and a lot of attorneys. We also, my father was also a constable years ago. I'm really kind of carrying on his legacy as a constable. So I really appreciate if you really recognize us as an asset to the city. So for that, I thank you for that. Thank you.
Peter, thank you so much. Okay, next up, any of the other attendees interested in participating? If so, could you please the Zoom attendees, if you could raise your hand. None up at the moment, so we will go to the next in person. Vinny.
Good evening. I hope Rick doesn't call and end the net on me. Vinny Chicatano, 56 Winding Lane, Newark, Connecticut. I have a prepared statement. I'm here to express my support for incorporating minority party representation. This change would be a significant step toward all voices in our city being represented, fostering a sense of inclusion and transparency. Allowing for representation among all community members fosters a sense of belonging, helping residents feel heard and validated in Norwalk's decision-making process. Local politics is very personal. It's grassroots, and it's our daily, day-to-day living. It's friends, neighbors, and organization leaders standing up for issues that matter to us daily. When individuals from varied backgrounds and perspectives are represented, they are more likely to feel their community acknowledges and values their input. The work you're doing here is important. Minority representation breaks down stereotypes in local government. Seeing leaders from a variety of political, cultural, and social identities can inspire residents to realize that Norwalk's success is rooted in a voice for all approach and not driven by political popularity. No matter what party you represent, you should want this approach and champion for it. Let's bridge differences and value a more equitable community at a local level. As currently structured, there is solely power in numbers from one party versus the other. While democracy is founded in this very foundation, local issues and local government should not stereotype and given the popularity of party registration. We are a great mix of 90,000 plus, and we all deserve to be heard. Thank you for your dedication to making Norwalk a community that values every voice. I hope that you will strongly consider this. By taking these steps, I feel there's many added benefits to our community that may not be recognized on the surface. If more people feel involved and feel as if they have a say in what happens, we may be able to increase the amount of people that come out and vote during these municipal elections. I feel 14,000 is dismal in a community of 90,000 people and over 50,000 registered voters. But I have to feel from people that I speak with all the time is there's a lot of people that feel disenfranchised. I used that term last campaign. So we have to do everything that we can possibly to make people feel included and feel as if their voice matters and not just give up and say, well, it doesn't matter what I do. And I think this would be a great step towards that. I thank you for your time and I thank you for all your hard work. I've been checking in on your meetings and I'm incredibly gratified at the work you do. It's just been absolutely amazing. So thank you again for all you do. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna check in Zoom one more time. Buddy, okay, Luis Estrella.
How you doing, everybody? Luis Estrella, Osborne Avenue. I just wanted to speak on behalf of minority party representation. I think it's a crucial part, to ensure that everyone has their voices heard. And also it's a very, very effective tool to ensure, checks and balances are, kept up. So I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. Not gonna keep this drawn out, but I think minority party representation is very important to any municipality, no matter which side of the aisle you're on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luis. Check that line again. Okay, the last person we have on the sheet is Chris Dwyer, but also we took the sheet, so you can't sign up for it. So if there's anybody else that would like to speak, we can bring it back up there. Is there another one up there? Okay, Chris?
Hello, Commission. Just wanted to thank you for your work on this document. I recently learned about this document, so it's a new thing for me. But I understand that this document is the foundation of our local government, which in turn represents the foundation of every single one of our lives. Seems very, very important. And to set further context, in reading your front page says the Charter Revision Commission was appointed with a clear and simple mandate to make the charter easier for Norwalk residents to comprehend, and with the input of the public, reorganize the document and give residents a better sense of how their government works and enhances transparency and accountability. My comment is I'm a 37-year-old who works remotely for the largest company in America. I'm married with no children, and I just learned what this 200+ page document is. I'm not putting that entirely on anyone, but Copilot tells me this document would take 8 to 10 hours to read casually. When I think about the 94,000, 93,000 people in this city, I want to talk about accessibility of information. I think we can use graphic design and summaries and AI in ways that can make these things more accessible, paired with our great city clerk who gets this information and the information about the public hearings. So just wanted to voice my support for furthering the cause of the mandate, which is to make it more easy for people to read this and see this document. Thank you.
Thank you,
Can we
Chris.
have his-
Appreciate it.
Can we have his full name, please? He
Chris
never said-
Dwyer
Okay,
was
thank you.
the name of the last speaker. So that is everybody that has signed up in person. I'll see, oh, we have some people online. Okay, we'll start at the top. Diane Loricella.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and the Charter Revision Commission. For the record, my name is Diane Loricella, Little Fox Lane. I first wanted to echo thanking you all for putting in the time and effort and research, as well as Mr. Bendick's service and other staff in getting this shaped up to the degree you need. I do think a lot of thoughtful discussion took place, but I was a little taken aback that some very good ideas were put down quickly by members of the leadership in City Hall without as much conversation as I would have liked. To be specific on what I would like to see a little different venture is I think it's Article 10 under operating budget. I know that a lot of discussion took place related to defining the operating budget, and I'm very happy that it's easier to read. However, I do think that the Common Council, and I'd like you to consider going back to the drawing board on this. I do think the Common Council, who directly answers to the constituents, should have more line item control. And I just didn't see enough of that taking place. So I ask that you take a look and go back to the drawing board. I also think that the Board of Estimate is a body that should be elected. I know that my thoughts about this did not go anywhere this year, but I do believe that is the case. However, since that was not agreed to, at the very least, I do feel, because you do mention this, I'm gonna have to try to take a look, where you want to have diversity on your boards and commissions, and the Board of Estimate is very important in our city. I know by the latest census tract that we have over 51% females that are in this city, and yet the Board of Estimate and Taxation does not reflect this. So I do believe that while I'd like to see it in the charter, that we have to reflect the census tract for the membership of the Board of Estimate. And I did say this during one of the public hearings. I do stand by all of my previous comments and suggestions that I submitted. I believe it's page 27, 2-6, diversity on boards and commissions. While it's great to have that language in there, it's inspirational and aspirational, I just don't see my city still practicing what they preach. The Harbor
30
Commission,
seconds remaining.
I believe the council should be increased, that either you add 5 at-large seats or 1 in each district, because it's not a sweet spot for a city of this size to have 15 only. I don't say we need 40, but 15 is just not enough for representation and to allow minority parties to have a shot at also getting elected. Lastly, under terms of office, I'm very sad
3
that you
minutes.
decided not to take this up. I do think you will have a special session, I guess, and I believe in term limits, and I will be approaching my legislators for a special act in the state. I believe 4 years should be both for the mayor and council, and we need to discuss this because this has been a can kicked down the road for a long time. The assistant city clerk is the last thing I wanted to mention. Miss Murillo is terrific, but I have
3 minutes
heard
and 30
and seen
seconds.
that she is not being used to serve the council, which is her primary role according to charter, and that needs to be changed. So thank you for allowing me to speak. Please take what I'm saying into your wise counsel. Thank you.
Same. Okay, next on the list, Heather Dunn.
Hi, guys. Thanks for what you're doing. I'm here as the sole minority representative for our city, which is really a sad state of affairs. As the sole non-Democrat holding office, it's my responsibility to represent slightly less than half of the city's voters who have chosen not to align themselves with the majority party. The other 24 individuals all owe their allegiance to the Democratic Party currently. This is not a truly representational government. I've been paying attention to your meetings and have watched you give up a great deal of your time over the last couple of months, so thank you for stepping up as community leaders. I do have to say, however, that I'm disheartened and disappointed that you've not been able to address the greatest discrepancy in our charter, the fact that we are an extreme outlier in Connecticut by not allowing true minority representation. By walking away from this process without addressing minority party representation in your draft, you're saying that you're fine with it being codified for up to, it sounds like, another 10 years. Being inclusive and allowing for others who don't totally want one majority party to have a seat at the table will only make us more representative of our population. Living in an echo chamber with the resulting polarization is never healthy. Please reconsider doing what's right for your neighbors in our community by relooking at including minority representation, by including it with the 5 at-large council members and on the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heather. Okay, next on the online participation, Martin Tagliaferro.
Thank you, Martin Tagliaferro, Lookout Road in Norwalk. I'm here to support the idea of having minority representation. I know that the Democrat Party always enjoys talking about diversity, and I think it would be a great disservice not to have a diversity of opinion on the town council. And I don't think we have it at the moment. And I strongly recommend and support that minority representation be added. If you added the number of people or number of representatives in each district, maybe you could have 3 in each district, 1 Democrat, 1 Republican, 1 independent, and then you can enlarge the at-large so that you could have a diverse group of people offering diverse opinions. I want to thank you for your work, and I want to hope that you would consider that as far as going forward. Thank you. That's all.
Juan, thank you very much. Next up, Nora Nijelski-Eichner.
Thank you very much, Chair. I really want to thank all of the commission members. I know that you have really grappled hard with a lot of very complicated issues. And I do think that it is indicative of how complicated many of them are, that ultimately I think the recommendations have been narrower than I had hoped that they would be. And I don't expect that much will change between now and then. But I just really wanted to acknowledge the work that you did, the amount of conversation, the ideas that have been raised. I hope that you have really laid the groundwork for further conversations on these points. I obviously feel very strongly on a number of issues, including a 4-year term for the mayor and council, and most particularly the granting of line item budget authority to the council. I think that it does not serve our city well to have the most important aspects of running the government, the decisions about how we spend money, not being in the hands of the people who spend time overseeing the day-to-day operations of how the city spends that money. And I came across a quote from James Madison that I wanted to just share with all of you. And again, really with the public, as I think this conversation will continue beyond, this Charter Revision Commission's work. But James Madison, writing in The Federalist, said that the power over the purse may be the most complete and effectual weapon with which any constitution, or in this case, any charter, can arm the immediate representatives of the people. And this is why in the federal constitution, the budgetary power rests with Congress. It does not rest with the executive. It does not rest with any appointed body. It rests with the elected representatives of the people. Because at the end of the day, the elected representatives of the people should have the power to decide how the city government operates. And we do that in very large part through spending money. So again, I really thank you for the time you've put into this. I know it has been challenging. I know that you have really given your best efforts and best thoughts. And I look forward to working with you over the next couple months as we finalize this. So thank you for your final consideration as we round this out.
Thank you very much, Mark. Okay, we have no one else online. Do we have any more signups in person? Eric?
My favorite.
Pardon?
You good?
No.
Thank you, Charter Revision Commission people. I appreciate the hard work you put into it. It was a long, arduous task. I followed from the beginning. My name is Eric Taglione, 54 Van Zan. I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed in what we could have done, given really the freedom that Connecticut State Legislature allows for us to kind of structure our government accordingly. I'm with everybody in the room and probably online that minority party representation should have been pursued to a greater extent. I mean, everybody's echoed the 14-1 imbalance, regardless of what party you at, you know, it becomes problematic really to affect any kind of comprehensive coverage of the constituents. I am happy that the referendum thing's passing. That is good news. Good work, John. Thank you for bringing that. But I don't know. I feel we wasted our time and money in this. And 5-year turnaround instead of a 10-year sounds kind of reasonable since we didn't get much heavy lifting done on it. I don't know, just generally disappointed in the process. But thank you for the work you put in. It's an arduous task. I read the document 3 times and I read 30 other town charters and they evolved into a different, more comprehensive form of governance. So the work, I'm sorry that there's not much to show for it, in my opinion. Thanks, guys.
Anyone else online? Anybody online looking to participate? Please raise your Zoom hand. We can get you in here. Last call for anybody in person who would like to speak. No, so I think we can close the public participation portion of the evening and move on to the discussion. Steve did know what do we need to act on anything this evening? Do we, I mean, could we?
We have another meeting scheduled.
We have one more
And-
scheduled, right?
And the question is whether there's information you received tonight or otherwise that you'd like to hold off until next week and have a final meeting or act on it tonight.
May I make a motion that, Steve, if you would, since I saw you taking very copious notes, if you could provide a summary of what the comments were today to discuss next on the next meeting?
Sure.
Copious notes here as well.
Copious notes, Joe and Steve. And anyone else who took copious notes.
Thank you.
So we can discuss this at the next meeting.
I think we can discuss any of these items at this meeting as well as the next meeting.
We can, I just think it'd be more meaningful if we all have the things in front of us. I mean, there are a number of things that we can all say, but I'm not sure that I was keeping it. Notes, if Steve wants to go through the notes or Joe, we can take them one at a time, I suppose. Doug?
Well, since we have almost a full slot, we did last time. I was gonna make a motion. Again, to bring something off the table.
Okay.
Make a motion, to bring off the table a discussion of minority representation. The one that was where it concerned the at-large candidates. We already,
Option 1.
yeah, it's an option. I didn't have the number with me. It's option 1, which is 5 at-large candidates. 2 of those members will have a minority representation of the 5. I'd like to make a motion to remove that from the table so we can discuss it.
Okay. All in favor of removing?
People that at the meeting, they can vote.
This is
That's the original. Everybody.
Cedra?
Yeah, there was a motion the last time, right, for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this as in tabling or dismissing?
Yeah,
This
but
is to
it's-
take it
This
off
is
the
to-
table,
So that we can
so
discuss
that we can
it.
discuss. it.
That vote happened the last meeting, correct?
It
And so
did.
that, is that, can that go on indefinitely, or is that something
Going to be
that?
continued motions to take something off the table.
I didn't bring my.
Doug, as our
Oh, God.
resident
Well-
Masons authority.
Mason.
I made a motion to bring it off the table last time and it tied.
It tied.
It will fail.
Which would be a failing vote.
But it's, we're going with, Ms. Pritchett, it's when we voted on tabling it. With everybody
That
that
was
was
at the-
here, that was
that
way
was at
back
the-
a couple.
to March.
And there was a
March
motion to
meeting.
untable it and that failed.
I'm
So
sorry.
the question is, can we just keep doing this ad infinitum?
We had the majority of public participants, 6 out of 10, actually brought up minority party representation. I feel as though, out of respect to the residents, it shouldn't be just entirely dismissed.
I'm talking about this.
I don't have Masons with me, so I don't.
I didn't bring one, because it's not a motion to reconsider, that's a different animal. Because that requires somebody from the side that voted against it, to want to bring it back up to the table. As far as I know, but I just.
So maybe this is an item that we can have at the next, we can discuss at the next meeting, because we don't really know what the answer is.
Why don't you place it on the agenda to remove it from the table at the next meeting, and we can take a look at the rules. Okay. And when you see the summary, NPR is clearly an issue that the public talked about this night.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it certainly will be a subject for discussion, whether the removal from the table is the appropriate motion for it or not. I do not have an answer.
So I have a problem with that. It's 7 PM now. We have, it's early in the evening. I don't see why, and we actually have 8 council members in attendance, which is a third more than we had at our previous meeting. Commission members in attendance. If the question is simply from the commissioner that whether or not we are permitted to vote on untabling again, I'm happy to research that question in real time. But quite frankly, I would be perfectly happy to discuss, to actually vote on that motion and reconsider the proposal again.
The issue has to do with the finality. It's like how, you have to have some ground rules and predictability, and so it's really a matter of finality. Is this final, or is the vote that we had last time final, or is it not, as a matter of a procedure? Because we can invent the rules as we go along, but I think that predictability really, and good governance requires us to really follow accepted norms and rules.
Ed, no one's discussing inventing the rules as we go along. You may recall from our very first meeting, Commissioner McQuaid proposed adopting Mason's Rules of Orders, and that passed unanimously with 1 abstention. I was the abstention because I had no clue what Mason's Rules of Orders are. So the rules are not being reinvented. The rules are the rules,
Correct.
and that's
so
what
we have to. I think Rick wants to.
No, I want to bump you on it. What you're saying
No,
is, I was going the same route as you. There's a couple of things you really have to look at. You have to look at what the actual wording is of Mason's, since that is the book that we're using for these meetings. The other thing is you have to look at the attendance of the minutes of that meeting of who actually voted, because it may, change status of
whether or not we have a quorum or didn't have a quorum.
Right. Yeah. So it has a couple of technicality things that you can do, would need to do before we can actually make the do on it. I understand what John says, it's early night, let's get this going, but if we don't follow the proper procedures, we're gonna have to do the whole thing over again, and then we could get backlogged in what other things we want.
And we only have 1 meeting.
And we only have one
really no
meeting,
room
so,
for error.
and you don't wanna do a rule thing wrong where you're called out on it and having to do it all over again. So I'm a rule guy type of thing, so that's why I'm only putting that in there.
I'm with you on the side question, even though I think in this case, we're okay.
Yeah.
But, I didn't bring a book with me. Mine would be about 10 years out of date anyway, but I still have my Mason's rules.
I think this one rule might go back 20 years. So I think.
I don't think it was written in the last month, that's for sure.
Doug's volume still relevant.
But it's like, we can relitigate issues over and over again, but then there'd be no point in having any. Under, I think, Robert's rules, you could conclude a meeting with an error of some sort, and as long as the meeting is concluded, the error is wiped away. But I think we just, we could re-argue this thing over and over again, and I just think that if we're gonna do that, then let's make sure that we're doing it the right way.
Well, I think we've heard from 10 people this evening. A number of them have brought it up, so I think it's certainly an agenda item at our meeting on the 20th. I think it's gonna be the 27th. I have to double check because I don't think the chambers are available, so we'll have to figure out where we're gonna be. I would be in favor of doing some research as to the rule, because it's kind of it was voted down and then tabled and then at a losing vote to untable it, so let's make sure we get that right. And we'll put it on the agenda for the 27th.
So I would just add, I respect the commissioner's concern about relitigating the discussion of proposal one, which is to allow minority party representation on for the at-large candidates on the council. But what we're really missing, separate from the discussion, is actually a vote where we get to vote on it, which we have not yet been able to do.
We voted on option 2, which was a different version.
That's correct. So we're discussing something else. We're discussing proposal one,
Correct.
which was prepared by Attorney Mednick.
Correct. Yeah, so we can put that as an agenda item for our meeting on the 27th, and we can take a vote.
And it would go on the agenda item for the next meeting because we're not certain whether or not we're allowed to consider it off the table again. Is
Correct.
Is that correct?
We get a look at the rules for untabling something that had
Procedures.
that had previously, one version of it was voted down and then it was tabled and then there was vote to untable it, which didn't pass. And so we need to be sure that we get that right.
Now I know why they invented ChatGPT. We can get the
It's
answer.
not always accurate. But you also, then you're gonna have to get the minutes of who the members.
Well,
were.
that's what that applies to. Is there anything else on this agenda though we should be discussing the evening, the review? I mean, this was sent out as the final draft.
Well, I mean, so my question would to the commission would be, was there any comment from any of the commissioners on the final version, not the final, but the most up-to-date draft that was posted? Or on the summary? There's some issues with the summary?
Well, somebody did come to like.
Right. So does that mean, is there, if there?
I haven't even had a chance to read it because I've been.
I think,
If you can, because that will be part of the document.
yeah, so well, and why don't we add that too as a things to do for our meeting on the 27th, is I sent a summary out very late. I apologize for that. I was working on it up until today. So I went through the red line and tried to pick out all the pieces that we had acted on that were not, scrivener's errors. So if there's anything missing from that people think would be valuable, we can update that before it goes on the final report. That's also on the website. I think I emailed it to everybody.
Can I
Did
just
you
say,
draft a couple to the website today?
The most up-to-date report and then the summary is up on the
summary. No, I mean,
website. But if there's anything missing from the summary, then we need to add that before we send it to the council.
can I just say something, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Regardless of the ruling on the table, the removal from the table, this was a public hearing. And Commissioner Camacho has asked us to do a little compilation of the things that were brought up here this evening. And which means that any of the items brought up at the public hearing, whether they relate to an item that was tabled or not, will be subject to discussion. Because that is the reason for the public hearing, and to show respect to the people who had attended the public hearing, you have to discuss the issues. Whether it's the vehicle that is on the table or a broader discussion of the issue that could lead to another amendment, the item will be discussed. So I don't think this is meant to obfuscate anything. I think, and I'm sorry, I did not bring my Masons. I was relying on the vice chair, who's the Masons expert here.
Sorry.
On that, we haven't had a Masons
We
debate
haven't had
in the last year and a half.
anything.
We haven't had an issue in the last year. But I just wanted to give everybody assurance that the items that were brought up at the public hearing, and the reason you don't act on them the same night as a public hearing is that I think the public's entitled to have due deliberation and thought given to the issues that were raised. So the issue is an issue that was clearly raised. I think the 4-year term was raised. Other things were raised here tonight, and those will all be items that you can discuss at your last meeting.
Can we update the comment grid to include these, or should this be its own thing?
I'm gonna do, I'll just, I'll work with Joe. We'll put together our own thing of what happened at the public hearing this evening.
So I can offer some good news. Although we do not have an expert on Mason's rules, I have just now become an expert on Mason's rules with respect to untabling a previous motion that had been tabled and failed its previous vote. Yes, it is permitted.
Okay.
It is what?
It is permitted. You may, we.
We
there
will,
can be
we'll have,
except-
You
have
can
Attorney
do it, the
Bentley
question is,
cross
whether- yeah,
that
you can do it, the
with
question is whether you can
ChatGPT.
do it more than once, that's the issue.
That's correct, and the answer is yes, you may renew.
What's the
a motion.
citation for that?
Ooh, good question.
But you still need
Well, John, I appreciate it. We'll have-
We'll look at it.
We'll
John.
look.
They'll have
We'll
to have the members. The issue will be debated, discussed. That's the point I was trying to make to everybody is that this is not thwarting discussion on NPR, maybe thwarting discussion on the particular vehicle, that's all.
I'm sorry, normally, John, in any body, if they're an attorney, like when we have the council meetings or discussion remains in rules, it usually goes to the attorney. It's the neutral person sitting at the table versus a council person making the ruling whether or not.
Yeah, but
Could
we-
you ask for, no, I'm saying we're, procedurally wise, I think we're heading.
We'll look at
right.
it.
A parliamentarian.
Yes.
Well, we didn't appoint anybody, so.
We will, Joe and Steve will put together the grid. We'll consider all of the the input that we received this evening. We'll get that up on the agenda for the 27th and we'll confirm, what ChatGPT says about Mason's rules.
And we'll try to get it out in the next couple of days, if that's okay.
Absolutely, I can get it to you
And so-
tomorrow morning.
It doesn't change that often.
Okay, well, okay, well, thank you to everybody who came out this evening. Appreciate it. And we will, we'll confirm our meeting room for the 27th. Maybe we'll be in the community room, but we'll check and we'll get that posted. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Right, all in favor?
Short and sweet.